that my responses will not be chopped up and distorted.
No. I live in the neighborhood. I've been here now, what is it, day 25 or 24?
Oh, I don't actually know.
And I noticed you yesterday. I saw you carrying the same sign yesterday.
I did have the same sign yesterday, yes, sir.
And I don't know if you were before that. I didn't see you before that.
I was here before that, but not with the sign.
Okay. Anyway, today there was a march up in Fifth Avenue. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yes.
And they were marching in front of what they called Billionaires Row.
They did.
And went to various houses, etc. I have a question.
Yep.
One of the gentlemen that you marched in front of was a guy named John Paulson. I don't know if you know who he is.
I know of John Paulson.
Okay, so John Paulson, a hedge fund manager who's lost a lot of money this year, but very successful.
Sure.
And he actually made a statement that he wanted people that are here to hear.
Okay.
So can I read it to you and then maybe you can comment on it?
Absolutely.
Okay, the statement is as follows. The top 1% of New Yorkers pay over 40% of all income taxes, providing huge benefits to everyone in our city and state. Paulson and Company and its employees have paid hundreds of millions of dollars in New York City and New York State taxes in recent years and have created over 100 high-paying jobs since its formation. New York City and New York State currently have some of the highest income taxes across the country, and thousands of businesses have fled to go to other states with no income taxes like Florida, Texas, and Nevada. Instead of vilifying most successful businesses, we should be supporting them and encouraging them to remain in New York City and continue to grow.
In response, sir, I would say a few things. First of all, I'm not opposed to rich people being rich. I would love to be rich myself. I'm working very hard towards that. I have a business that is growing, and I hope it will continue to grow. I would say there is a difference between a successful business and what I would consider grand larceny. There is nothing successful or free market or capitalist about $1 trillion bailout. What makes capitalism work is that the rich do get rich in the good years. And then when the company screws up, and they take too much risk, and the gamble goes over the other way. I mean, I used to play poker pretty seriously, so making 10 grand on a good day is not the same as making 10 grand every day. I have to eat my losses. That is the flip side of the free market. The fact that these banks are bailed out with my tax dollars is immoral, and the fact that Mr. Paulson pays a lot of taxes has no bearing on the morality or lack of morality of what happened here.
So you're not opposed to Mr. Paulson because today...
I may be opposed to him. I don't know enough about him.
Okay, well today, just he was one of the houses that people marched against.
I don't know enough about him to have an opinion on him. I can tell you that I am opposed to Lloyd Blankfein and John Mack and Vikram Pandit and Jamie Dimon. They should be in jail.
They should?
They should.
And why should they be in jail?
Because they have managed to exert enough influence over the government of this nation to where there is a second set of laws that applies to them.
And what is that second set of laws?
It means that when they screw up, they don't have to risk going to jail. If I stole even $100 from the grocery store, I would go to jail. They can steal billions, trillions from taxpayers, and they can be rewarded. The analogy that I draw is that if your dog relieves itself on your carpet, you don't reward them with a dog treat.
Okay, that's great. Can I ask you a question? You mentioned Jamie Dimon, who runs J.P. Morgan. You mentioned Lloyd Blankfein, who runs Goldman Sachs. You mentioned Vikram Pandit, who runs Citibank, and you mentioned John Mack, who used to run Morgan Stanley.
Yes.
Are you aware that those four institutions that you just mentioned received taxpayer dollars and paid back every cent to the government with interest? So you as a taxpayer actually made money on that bailout. Are you aware of that?
I am aware of that, sir, and my comment is this. The fact that in this instance the bailout money was repaid does not make it moral to bail out companies that should have failed.
Okay, so it happened. So what are you saying? What do you stand for now then? Are you saying that this shouldn't happen in the future? Or?
I stand for a few things. An end to corporate welfare, no more bailouts ever. I stand for the immediate repeal of the Patriot Act.
Right.
The immediate end of the Federal Reserve.
Why the immediate end of Federal Reserve?
Because I believe that the U.S., what is essentially the U.S. central bank, should not be some kind of nebulous, half-public, half-private entity composed of private member banks. I believe there is inherent moral hazard in that construction.
So what structure would you give in its place, if any?
I have my own opinions, but I am not. It's obviously a very complex thing. For starters, I would suggest that if there is a central bank, that it be under the authority of Congress. I am of the opinion that Congress does not get to cede its authority to private institutions whenever it feels like it. I'm of the opinion that Congress needs to do the job that it is supposed to do. And in that situation, the central bank would be subject to oversight. We'd be able to know what it was doing.
So you would say then the Federal Reserve should still exist, or not?
I would prefer. No, I do not want the Federal Reserve to still exist. I do not want this composition of private member banks to be the U.S. central bank.
Do you want to show me your sign?